Peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of love. A peace that depends on the silence of the outside world is frail and fleeting. True peace is a vast sky that no storm can disturb. It is inner stillness, so deep that the world can crumble around you and the calm of your heart remains unshaken. Seek that peace within yourself, and you shall become a sanctuary to which you can always return. Peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of love. Peace is love. Peace is something tremendously real, tremendously positive. The mind knows nothing about peace. It only knows it as absence of something. Because the mind is noise, it is chaos, it can imagine a moment of silence. It can imagine a moment of peace and clarity, which is just the absence of noise and chaos. But that isn't peace at all. Real peace is glowing, it's alive, it is nourishing, it's fulfilling, it is warm. All the qualities that we can find in love. If peace is just absence of disturbance, then it is impossible to get to it. Because no matter how far you go in search of this peace, because the very search is negative, because you are not actually searching for peace, you're searching for a way of stepping away from the noise, not on the inside, but mostly on the outside. When we talk about peace in a non-spiritual, non-meditative context, we are simply talking about removal of conflict. And that has been our endeavor on the outside. Our fight for justice, our desire to control things, arrange and rearrange things endlessly, is about getting to that place of peace. But have we accomplished what we have set out to accomplish? How long has it been? Where is the peace on the outside? Far from removing peace, we have become more bound to the idea of getting rid of peace in as many different ways as possible, because deep down we know that the real peace is still missing. It isn't there. Yes, some aspects of our lives, we have managed to make them a little more peaceful. Few small, recognizable, physical aspects. But on the inside, everything is still chaotic. There is no peace on the inside because there is no love. There is no love because we haven't gone to the roots. Love is the soil that nourishes the tree of life. We cannot find it in the tips and branches. What we find on the surface are mere reflections. To know what peace is, you have to know what love is. To know what love is, you got to go to the very heart of your being. You have to move away from the leaves and branches. You have to move to the trunk. And then you have to move closer to the roots. Then you have to feel the soil and become one with the ground that is supporting everything. Getting to peace is really getting to that place that is nourishing your life. What is keeping you alive? How are you conscious? How are you able to perceive things? How are you able to recognize chaos? If there is disturbance, there has to be some part of you that is not disturbed to recognize that disturbance. If you are just a bundle of chaos and disturbance with no peace, no love, no sense of detachment from this chaos and disturbance, how would you recognize it? The very fact that you can recognize your disturbance and do something about it on the outside implies that you know what peace is. You just don't know it in its entirety. Now, there's a beautiful story. It is said that Alexander the Great, after accomplishing all the things he's accomplished, becoming one of the most powerful individuals, he had the desire of meeting the Greek philosopher Diogenes. It was said that Diogenes was the only individual who knew what peace and contentment was. Rest all were searching for it, and the rumor had spread across the kingdom that there's this one man who truly knows what peace is. And Alexander knows very well that he has not found peace. Whatever he has accomplished, it is simply a show on the outside. On the inside, he's still searching for peace. It is said that Alexander meets Diogenes when he's sitting outside basking in the sun. And Alexander stands in front of Diogenes and says to him, "Ask whatever you want. I am one of the most powerful individuals. I have everything I can give you. And I've heard that you are a man of wisdom, knowledge, and peace. And I want to grant you a wish. Ask whatever you want." Diogenes looks up and says, "Yes, stand out of my sun." It is said that in that moment, Alexander was struck by the simplicity of life, simplicity of peace. A man who can ask for anything and a man who can actually grant it. And he's just asking to step away so that he can continue to enjoy what he was already enjoying. Even without asking for anything, Diogenes was showing Alexander that peace is your natural state. Peace is who you are. It's only when something else obstructs your peace and you do not see what is it that is obstructing your peace, you miss it. His whole life, Alexander was obstructing his own peace. He was the biggest obstacle. Alexander was the disturbance that was blocking what he was searching for. So how can he find peace as long as he's Alexander? How can you find peace in the world as long as you are you? To recognize who are you is the starting point. Are you the stillness or are you movement? Are you silence or are you noise? What are you most identified with? What do you value the most? What do you treasure the most? Do you treasure a moment of silence? A moment of aloneness? A moment of simple, natural aliveness and connection with yourself? Or are you obsessed with accomplishing all your desires? Has your obsession to control things on the outside taken you to such a point where you have altogether forgotten that the only thing you have to control is this obsession to control? We move, we do things, our very desiring process, if we pay close attention to it, is about control. It is not actually about accomplishing that desire. If it was just about accomplishing a desire, then accomplishing it should give us peace, should give us deep contentment and joy. At least for a while. It need not be permanent. If you're longing for something, at least when you get it, that part of your life should find meaning, purpose, and satisfaction for the rest of your life. But there is not one thing in life that you can say, if I get this, I'm going to be happy for the rest of my life. We're not talking about eternity. We're not talking about lifetimes. Just this life. And we're not talking about many things. Just one thing. This reminds me of a joke. 3 men find themselves at the gates of heaven, where Saint Peter informs them that each will be granted a vehicle to travel around heaven. But the type of vehicle will be based on how faithful they were to their spouses on earth. The first man admits he was faithful for most of his marriage, but had a few affairs. Saint Peter gives him a reliable sedan, and the man drives off happily enough. The second man confesses he was only occasionally unfaithful. Saint Peter hands him the keys to a small compact car, and he too drives off, slightly disappointed but grateful. The third man proudly announces that he was completely faithful to his wife throughout their long marriage. Impressed, Saint Peter rewards him with a luxury sports car. A few days later, the man with the sports car is seen sitting on the curb, head in hands, crying. The other two, curious, pull over to ask what's wrong, especially since he got the best vehicle. Through his sobs, the man replies, "I just saw my wife go by on a skateboard." It does not matter how well you arrange your life on the outside, what you find, because you can never have complete control over something. You can only have control over you, the part of you that is not created, is not manifested, is not added. You can only control that part of you that belongs to you. Your ability to be in the present moment, your ability to choose, your ability to step away. This is the only control, and this is where peace is. The moment we step out of this space, forget the actual space that we can control, then our search for control, our search for peace is just a mirage. It's just a dream. Even the best of things can be taken away, can change, and they do. Life always surprises us, irrespective of how well we try to understand it on the outside.